Just going to make a very basic van. First I think I'll set the model year to 1990 and then limit the body type to vans, of course. Now I will look through the options to find a good one. This one looks good for what I have in mind, going to choose it. Steel for panel material, ladder frame and steel as the material for that as well. Front longitudinal engine placement, since I want to make this rear wheel drive. Solid axle coil for the front and solid axle leaf for the rear. Now time for the engine. I'll go with a basic inline 4 with a cast iron block. Displacement I'm going to make 2.2 liters with a long stroke to have a good amount of torque. Then a single overhead cam and 2 valves and cast iron for the head material. Cast iron everything here and balance shaft for the balancing mass. Not going to touch anything here yet, and keeping this engine naturally aspirated. For the fuel system, I will go with single point EFI. Compact intake manifold, and fuel I will keep as regular unleaded. Compact cast headers to match the intake manifold, and a two-way catalytic converter, and a single baffled muffler for the exhaust. Then time to tune the engine. No real goals here other than making it work well enough. Just going through everything to make sure it's all good to go. And there's the engine finished. A good amount of torque throughout the engine's RPMs and 80 horsepower, which is good enough for a basic van. Finally, just going to give the engine a basic name. Then it's time for the rest of the options. First, as I said before, going to make this rear wheel drive, manual 5-speed gearbox, and open differentials. For tires, I'll go with radial utility, as that seems like the most obvious choice for a van, and rim material I'm keeping as steel. Solid disc 1-piston brakes on the front and drum brakes on the rear. Not going to have any under tray, and for the interior I'm going with a basic one, and for the entertainment just a basic AM radio. Steering will be hydraulic ball, and not going to have any traction aids. Safety I'll set as basic 80s. Finally, suspension, standard springs and twin tube dampers. Then just going to throw on the utility preset. Then as with the engine, time to go back through everything to adjust things until they work well enough. Using the suggestions list as a guide for when things are good to go. And going to call that finished. Here's how everything ended up after the adjustments. Only remaining suggestions are about the tire width, which I don't care about, and the rear brakes fading heavily, which I can't be bothered to fix. Now I will get to work on the fixtures to actually make this look like something. Going to cut to the point where it's finished. And here's the finished result. A very boring looking white work van. Would call the interior as boring as the exterior. Really matches the basic interior option I chose, I would say. Cargo area, of course, is even more basic. Now the only thing left to do is to give this thing a name. I'm very creative with these, so I'm going to call it the Van Standard, since it's a very standard van. Then I will get this thing exported to BMG Drive so I can give it a test drive. And here we are in BMG Drive with the van. So to test this, first I'm going to spawn one of these wood crates, and then as any professional van driver is able to do, I'm going to teleport it into the cargo area. And then I want to drive with the crate in the back from this workshop here on the highway to these hangars at the airport. One final step before we get going. I'm going to spawn some traffic cars as an extra challenge for this test. Now we are able to get going. Just watch out for traffic here to get onto the road. Short drive through this city area first, so nothing too exciting yet. And now we get onto the highway, and surprisingly this van with 80 horsepower doesn't accelerate the fastest. And now, as we know, speed limits don't apply to work vans, so I'm going to drive as fast as I want here to get the delivery done as quickly as possible. Coming up to some traffic here, and both lanes are blocked, so have to slow down a bit. And of course, as I get close, the traffic cars speed up. Okay, got up to them again, and now to do another classic van driver move and tailgate this car in front of me until I can pass. Whoops, getting away from me there on the uphill. At least the other lane is clear now, so I can pass. And able to pass this car easily as well. And now again have to tailgate this car for a bit until I can get past. Going to go for a move here. And then pass this other car as well. Bit of open road here now, so I can put my foot down. The van does feel quite stable at these speeds, thankfully. And able to get to about 130 before I have to hit the brakes, so we don't rear-end that orange car. And going to squeeze in front of that minivan, can't be stuck behind one of those. Slowing down for the roundabout and being a bit too aggressive with my clutch release after the downshifts. First exit out of there, and now we are getting close to the airport. Just this straight road here before we get to the airport area. Okay, there are the hangars. Just going to park up in front of them. Go a bit long here. Then reverse up to the door. Like so. And that concludes this test drive. Would call it a success. The van works as a van. What an incredible conclusion.